Suzume Iwato, a 17-year-old high school girl, lives with her aunt in a quiet town in Kyushu. As she's on her way to school, she comes across this dude who's looking for some deserted place with a door. Be prepared to be thrilled and captivated as you immerse yourself in the enchanting world of Suzume. Get ready to be transported into a world filled with adventure, where Suzume's journey will keep you on the edge of your seat with anticipation. It's time to embark on an epic and magical animated experience that will leave you breathless. Suzume tells him about this old onsen resort nearby and decides to tag along out of curiosity. And guess what? They actually find this random door standing all by itself. Suzume swings open the door and is like totally blown away by this epic sight of a field covered in stars inside. But here's the bummer. She can't actually step into it. And then, out of nowhere, she stumbles over this cat statue lying on the floor. And surprise! The statue transforms into a real cat and bolts away. Talk about weird. Freaked out, Suzume panics and makes a beeline back to her school. While chowing down on her lunch, Suzume spots this massive cloud of smoke billowing out from where this old resort was. Without wasting a second, she dashes back to the resort only to find the dude she saw earlier having a tough time shutting the door. Suzume hurries over to lend a hand, and together, they successfully close that stubborn door. Just when they think things are settling down, bam! The smoke column comes crashing down and triggers an earthquake in the nearby area. Talk about bad timing. So, Suzume brings this dude, Sota Munakata, back to her crib and he spills the beans about his gig. Turns out, he's on a mission to find and lock these specific doors in abandoned spots all over Japan. Why? Because there's this freaky supernatural worm thingy that could cause massive earthquakes if it gets unleashed. Talk about intense, right? While they're chatting it up, that cat from the resort shows up again and pulls a crazy move. It transforms Sota into the chair Suzume was sitting on. Yup, you heard that right. A human-turned chair. Now, this tiny three-legged chair Sota starts chasing the cat like it's some kind of game. And get this, the chase leads them to a ferry bound for Ehime. Suzume's like, no way I'm missing out on this, and follows them onto the ferry. But then, just when you think things can't get any weirder, the cat hops off the ferry and on top another ship. Like seriously? This cat's on a mission or something. So, Sota spills the deets on Suzume about that cat being some sort of keystone. Turns out, when the keystone was taken away from near the door, the worm got unleashed. Crazy, right? After they reach Ehime, Suzume and Sota do some social media stalking and find out that the locals have actually taken pics of the cat and given it the name Daijin. Gotta love the power of the internet. They team up with this cool local chick named Chika Amabe, who helps them track down the worm once again. They find it chilling near the entrance of an abandoned school, so they waste no time and shut that door tight. Crisis averted. With their mission accomplished, they crash the Chika's crib for the night. Gotta appreciate some good old hospitality. The following day, Suzume and Sota bid farewell to Chika and score a ride to Kobe with this awesome lady named Rumi Ninomiya. Oh, but here's the twist. Suzume gets asked to babysit Rumi's twin kiddos. Talk about unexpected duties. Later that evening, Suzume lends a hand to Rumi at a bar. And guess who pops up? Daijin. Yup, that cat knows how to make an entrance. Daijin leads Suzume and Sota to this abandoned amusement park where the worm is trying to make a comeback. But this time, it's attempting to slither out of a Ferris wheel. Talk about a creepy roller coaster ride. They totally succeed in locking the door, and boom, the worm vanishes into thin air. Sota drops some knowledge on Suzume, explaining that the door they just sealed up leads to this place called the Ever After. Apparently, it's where souls end up after they kick the bucket. Heavy stuff, right? So, after they track Daijin all the way to Tokyo, Sota's like, Suzume, can you take us to my pad? They roll up to his apartment, and that's where Sota spills the tea on this ancient myth about the worm named Namazu. Turns out, he's the last descendant of this family that's been keeping the doors to the Ever After locked for generations. Talk about a legacy. Sota spills the beans on the keystones, mentioning that there are two of them that keep the worm sealed up. The western keystone, surprise surprise, is none other than Daijin. But here's the kicker. The location of the eastern keystone is still a big old mystery. He drops a major truth bomb, warning that if that worm tries to crawl its way out of Tokyo, we're looking at an earthquake that's on the same level as the epic 1923 Great Kanto earthquake. Yikes! Just when Suzume thinks things couldn't get any crazier, she spots that worm popping up again. She ain't one to back down, so she and Sota start tailing it like it's some kind of twisted scavenger hunt. Let's see where this adventure takes them. Out of nowhere, the worm blows up into this massive, sky-filling beast. Suzume and Sota are like, we can't just sit here. So, they straight up fly over there to face it head on. Talk about defying gravity. But hold up. Daijin makes a comeback and drops a bombshell. He reveals that he's actually passed on his keystone duty to Sota. That's a lot of responsibility, dude. In the blink of an eye, Sota transforms into a freaking keystone right before Suzume's eyes. She's hesitant, but she knows she's gotta do what needs to be done. Reluctantly, she uses Sota, now a keystone, to lock down that giant worm once and for all. Time to bring the hammer down. Suzume wakes up at the shrine where the Tokyo gate is all tucked away. Sota's there, but dang it, she's still unable to step through that door. Frustrating, right? And wouldn't you know it, Daijin shows up again. Suzume's not having it and gets all mad, telling him to stay away for good. Can't blame her for being ticked off. In an attempt to figure out how to save Sota, Suzume pays a visit to Sota's grandpa, Hitsujiro Munakata, at the hospital. Time to gather some wisdom and make a game plan. Turns out, according to Sota's grandpa, Suzume's got this special ability to see the worm and the ever after through those doors. And get this, it means that at some point in her life, she actually stepped into that realm through one of those doors. Mind-blowing, right? To save Sota, Suzume decides she needs to track down the specific door in her hometown in the Tohoku region. Yeah, the same place that got wrecked by the 2011 Tohoku earthquake and tsunami, where she lost both her mom and her home. Talk about a personal connection. As she sets off, Suzume bumps into Sota's buddy, Tomoya Serizawa, who's all about helping her locate Sota. Teamwork makes the dream work, baby. Suzume's aunt, Tamaki, shows up on a mission to bring Suzume back home to Kyushu. But Suzume is not having it and refuses to go back alone. And guess what? Tamaki ends up joining the crew and decides to roll with Suzume to Tohoku. Serizawa takes charge and starts driving them to Tohoku in his car. They make a pit stop at a rest area along the way, and that's when things get wild. Suzume stumbles upon a mind-blowing revelation. Tamaki has been possessed by Sadaijin, the Eastern Keystone. Talk about a plot twist. Later on, Tamaki takes Suzume to the remains of her old crib. It's there that Suzume stumbles upon the ancient door she's been searching for. She musters up the courage, enters the door, and guess who's by her side? Daijin and Sadaijin, of course. Once inside the ever after, Sadaijin pulls off a sick transformation and gets all up in the worm's grill, causing a major distraction. Meanwhile, Suzume is on a mission to wake up Sota and bring him back to his human form. Time to break the spell. But then, things take a turn. Daijin realizes that locking the worm for good means giving up his freedom. In a major sacrifice move, he volunteers to become the keystone and permanently seal that worm away in the ever after. Talk about a hero, man. While still hanging out in the ever after, Suzume spots this young girl from a distance. And guess what? It's her, but from like 12 years ago. Trippy, right? Suzume comes up with a rad idea. She decides to give her younger self the childhood chair that her mom gave her as a birthday present. She reassures her younger self that the chair will give her the strength to overcome the tough times and keep growing. It's all about spreading that positive energy. Feeling motivated, the younger Suzume decides to bounce from the ever after and head back to the past. And that's how she ends up being found by Tamaki 12 years ago. Time travel shenanigans, man. Suzume and Sota make their grand exit from the ever after, each going their separate ways. Sota heads back to Tokyo, while Suzume and Tamaki head home to Kyushu. Along the way, they pay a visit to all the awesome friends Suzume made during their epic adventure. It's like a reunion tour during the closing credits. After the credits roll, Suzume heads back to her school in her hometown in Kyushu. And guess who she bumps into? None other than Sota himself. It's a total surprise, especially since they crossed paths at the exact same spot where their journey began. Talk about destiny, man. This thrilling animated experience had us on the edge of our seats, gasping in wonder and yearning for more. As we bid farewell for now, prepare yourself for future escapades that will keep you enthralled, your heart racing with excitement and anticipation. Until we meet again, embrace the magic and embark on daring adventures that will ignite your imagination and leave you craving for the next epic chapter.